I'm Peter Matthews. I'm founder and chief executive of Nucleus. I founded Nucleus straight out of university, which is probably a little unusual. We started life as a brand consultancy and worked on lots of branding projects during the 1980s, including own label branding for people like Marks and Spencers and others. We got into the internet very early. In fact, we designed Sainsbury's online supermarket in 1995, first directs online bank in 96, Asda's online supermarket a couple of years later. So we were right in the forefront of e-commerce. The problem with e-commerce was fulfilling physical objects. That was really the problem in the sort of late 90s, around the dot-com boom. And then we discovered travel, and travel was quite different. We found that fulfillment for travel is just an email, and that made e-commerce very easy. And from then on, travel became one of our key areas of specialization. Nucleus's business these days is in three main areas: travel, luxury, and financial services. So the travel and luxury goes well together, and we do a lot of work with travel brands like Aman Resorts, who we've worked with since 2007. We work with Orient Express, we work with Mayborn, Corinthia, the Goring, and then travel operators, tour operators like CV Travel and others. So we have a wide repertoire of anything from individual hotels right up to major players. We also work with P&O Cruises. We run all their digital websites, and the same with Haven Holidays. Our clients are telling us broadly the same thing, although it changes from bottom to mid to high end of the market. But it's really tough. You can see that everyone's researching more, spending more time looking for a deal, booking very late, extraordinarily late in some situations. Villa bookings, I know, most of them happened in June this year, which is very, very late. Different markets have different habits. The Russians book earlier than others. They tend to book in May, but it's still late because they depart in June and July. And so the dynamics of the market are changing the whole time, and you need to be taking beta blockers if you're running a travel business in the early part of the season, I think, because it's not like it used to be. Interesting, at the highest end of the market, we do deal with a lot of high-end brands. Anyone who deals with ultra high net individuals, the high net worth in families, they do very well. People are out there spending a lot of money because there are a lot of very rich people. Although the demographics are changing, different markets are spending their wealth now. So those brands that deal at that end of the market tend to be doing quite well. And we've seen villas be booked on a whim for €100,000 a week. Lake Como, every villa is full during peak season at astonishing rates. But then the middle market is really hard, and everyone's looking for a bargain there, and that's not going to change. We've seen things happening in Greece. People, some of our clients who specialise in Greece, you're seeing houses and villas that have never been rented before because the owners can't afford. Now they're being taxed on them. They can't afford not to rent them. So there are all sorts of things. There's massive supply, and and demand is coming very late. So in order to do that, our advice to all our clients is you've got to invest in the digital media in your websites, and make sure they cater for those clients and convert properly, because you will see that those businesses, like the high street, you look at Marks and Spencer, John Lewis, all the supermarkets, those that are doing e-commerce well are doing well. Those that are focused just on retail, conventional retail, are not doing well, and that's polarizing. And with the advent of mobile, that's going to exaggerate that trend and accelerate it, we think. So I know most of our clients swallow when they think they have to do another digital project next year. They have to produce a mobile site. I think in 2013 you are going to see a very big difference between those that have invested and those that haven't. I think there are two trends that we look at the world through our lens of being brand and digital consultants. So the mobile trend is so strong, that's really the only important one that we see. If you're not in that game in a year's time, you might not be in business. So it's going to be that important. The other trend we see is the travel industry has always spawned quite a lot of, I hesitate to call them brands, but they're businesses that don't invest in their brands. So they don't stand for anything in particular. You know, they're just an agency or a tour operator selling generic stuff. Now, we think the other trend is to come, the stronger brands with strong brand propositions that can communicate effectively with their audiences are the ones that will succeed. They're ones that will stand for something, either quality, where it could be price, it could be choice, it could be a particular expertise in a destination, but you're going to have to stand for something, because if you're an all things to all men kind of brand, unless you're dealing in the cheapest possible, you're offering the cheapest possible prices, it's going to be a very hard place to be. And if you look around, you'll see a lot of travel businesses that don't have strong brands. Those that do are now having to compete with strong new brands, places like Airbnb, businesses like Airbnb, a whole load of disruptive brands that are entering the market, who will have a strong following and who have invested in their brands and have something special and different to say. Beyond the normal business challenges of operating any business in an economic environment like today's, the travel industry has particular challenges, which is that most of your business comes very quickly at certain parts of the year. So how do you run a business that can cope with great volume for short periods and then actually keep costs low enough during the rest of the year to remain attractive? And hotels, hotels have a similar problem. They make their year is determined by how they fill their shoulder periods. So how do you do that? Because you can sell out in peak season, everyone can do good business for a few weeks a year, but then what do you do the rest of the year? That's a real challenge of the travel, all aspects of the travel business. The answer there is to find a way of creating a compelling offer that spreads out those periods, and automate when it comes down to bookings. If you're a travel agency or operator, you've got to automate things, so you're not so reliant on individuals, because they're expensive to keep when you don't need them. So those are trends that are general, not just in the travel industry but in business. But the travel industry has to cope with the seasonality, which makes it certainly trickier than some businesses that have more evenly spread business through the year. I suppose we're proud of all our work. I think one of as a consultancy, everyone thinks we're expensive. That's one of the problems you have when you put a lot of effort into understanding your client's business to come up with a solution that will stand the test of time. And I think the thing I'm proudest about Nucleus's work is that if you look back at our work, specifically in the travel industry, the advice we've given to clients has stood the test of time. So Amman Resorts, we've worked with them since 2006. We launched the first site in 2007. We haven't redesigned that site since. It actually still works very well on iPads and things. We're looking at a mobile site now for them, but that's because it was very innovative when we launched it. So it's been a fantastic return on investment. For Orient Express, we launched our first site for them in 2001. We put it on a technical platform that is still running today. It was again an innovative choice at the time, but it served them very well. Haven, we've worked with them since 2008. Every year we incrementally change things. Their business has grown in a very tough market, but they're a very successful business. Bourne's results were out last week, and you can see how successful those businesses are. Likewise with P&O Cruises and others. Continuous improvement in measuring things, measuring effectiveness, improving them, creating a great customer experience, and innovating where appropriate. Work. So all those things we're very proud of. And our work in the luxury industry, when we get our hands on a lovely luxury properties like Ballyfin, for instance, we're really proud when we do a whole branding and digital project. So we help the client who invested a lot of money in that property create a compelling brand that appealed to his audience, and then we're able to do all the digital assets and all the brand identity aspects too. Those are the sorts of projects that we really like, and hopefully we'll look back in that in 10 years' time and it will still look great. Well, the travel industry is a wonderful industry to work in because you can actually indulge your passions. You can see great places, and you end up traveling a fair bit, even if you're just a consultant. But if you're actually working in a property or for a travel business, you get all of that. So starting off in the travel business, I think. Starting off in any business, unless you have a passion for something, you'll never be brilliant at it. So you've got to love what you do. That makes such a difference. So if you do have a love for travel, getting the experience, understanding how the business models tick, the various different business models, whether you're interested in hotels or tour operators, travel agencies, or whatever. For anyone who's particularly sort of innovative or entrepreneurial, then there are always disruptive business models to come up with, and you can see quite a lot of them come through the travel industry. Digital as a distribution tool is obviously the way ahead, and the industry will be in a state of some considerable change over the next couple of years as it adapts to changes in behaviour, continuing changes in behaviour from customers, and the fact that the market's very tough. I have several personas. So I have a vast family. I have 7 children, and I have a wife who's a travel editor. So when she and I travel together, we go to fairly exotic and highly luxurious hotels, beautiful places. We've got lots of favourite places around the world. When we travel as a family, it's always a villa, pretty much. I mean, they've been to some very nice hotels, but we're more comfortable in the villa situation. And at the moment, villas vary between Provence, Saint-Tropez, or Tuscany. And at the moment, we're on a Tuscan high. We had to rent 3 villas for our family this summer. We're all close together on a Tuscan mountain, and we just had a glorious time. Just enjoying good Tuscan food, fantastic weather. Doesn't get much better than that, really.